But in Pennsylvania, pharmacies like CVS reserve the right to dispense a generic equivalent unless you or your doctor specify otherwise. During the rampage, there were reportedly 100 employees inside the plant. This year marks the 40th anniversary of the parade, and it brings a little piece of the German culture here to Philadelphia. The social media sobriety test from WebRoot allows you to lock sites like Facebook and Twitter after you come home from a night out. You should sing a song while washing your hands so that you can make sure that you wash them thoroughly. ABCs or Happy Birthday would do just fine.
I'll think of something, Shaun.
This doesn't look like a pedicure customer. And this isn't what normally comes out of your toenails. But this isn't your standard pedicure. It's just the beginning process of changing a horse's shoes. And it's more than just a hobby. It's a career that requires schooling and talent just like any other profession. And for farrier John Weiler, it started with his passion for horses.
I had an affinity for horses. The shoers had to have an affinity for horses. They had to be able to work with the horses. You basically have to get the horse to stand still and accept you handling it, and it has to trust you. And then there was an artistic side where I noticed that the shoers were, forming the shoes and trimming the feet, and I just had an intuition of what they were doing. A lot of times when people watch me work, they don't seem to realize how involved it can be.
From start to finish, it can take Weiler anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour to put new shoes on a horse. And it's not like going to your area sneaker outlet for a new pair of Reeboks. Weiler must remove the old shoe and clip the nails all the way through to molding the new shoe and securing it. And the benefit of shoes on horses is very similar to that in humans.
If we use the horses more than their hooves can compensate for, then we put shoes on to protect the horse's hoof. It's just a matter of practicality.
In this material world, money is what drives most people to pick their careers. But for John and other farriers out there, the love of the job is what wakes them up in the morning. And at the end of the day, satisfaction is what really matters. Shaun Gallagher, Philadelphia Neighborhoods, Northeast. Rowing is considered one of the oldest sports dating back to before the 13th century, yet it's had little to no recognition in high school athletic programs. While it's usually reserved for private schools with better funding, inner-city schools are now trying to expand their extracurricular programs to attract a wider variety of students. For those at Boys Latin, the first all-African-American crew team in the city, they practice Tuesday to Saturday before sunrise, then they have a full day of school afterwards. And while it may sound difficult to some, these guys put up with it for the love of the sport.
Everybody don't want to wake up early in the morning and do crew, but I was willing to do it, so it was something different.
I thought it would be easy, actually, but it's not easy at all. It's actually really hard. And, I got better at it, and now I like it,
On top of practice Tuesday to Saturday, they have competitions every Sunday, and these athletes have to keep up with their schoolwork and find some time to sleep. So with the fun, there's plenty of sacrifice.
It's like a lot more that you put into it, like day and night, because it does take away like a little bit of your social life. Waking up 4:30 in the morning, you're not going to feel like going out that night.
But like they say, no pain, no gain. And while the pain of not being able to enjoy time with friends may be a problem, the pride their parents have in them is worth missing a night out with their friends.
He's matured a lot doing it. Have to be dedicated. They're up early in the morning. 4:30, 5 o'clock, and then these kids go right to school 8 o'clock till 4 o'clock. And they practice on Saturday and race on Sunday. So that's a lot of dedication.
To have an African American on crew team, his uniqueness about it, and you just crossing over barriers there, because that's something that our race doesn't involve themselves in, and it's different for our culture.
And the self-pride Rashawn has for being part of such an extraordinary team will give him more than just fond memories on the Schuylkill.
I really wanted to go to college and make something of myself, and I know that for crew, it's not that many people that are actually in crew, and especially not that many African Americans. And so I thought maybe if I did that, I would stand out amongst a big crowd of people.
The Boys Latin Charter crew team has only been around for 2 years, And in that brief amount of time, the boys have not only bettered their skills on the water, but with the commitment and dedication the sport requires, these boys are well on their way to becoming the architects of their own fortune. Reporting for Temple Update, I'm Shaun Gallagher. When dealing with your health, it's fair to say you want the best, but the best doesn't always mean higher prices. Many common brand name drugs have a generic equivalent that is authorized by the FDA. Dr. Lori Sedina, a pharmacist at CVS, says generic drugs are chemically the same as the brand name. With this information, common sense would tell you the generic drug costs about the same price as the brand, but this is simply not the case.
Brand medications have the original patent, so that original patent allows those folks to charge the most amount of money because they're the only ones that have the right to the drug.
The price for the brand can be nearly twice as much as the generic. Zithromax, a commonly used antibiotic, is just over $85, but its generic equivalent, azithromycin, costs about $45. That's a difference of $40. Flonase nasal spray costs about $115, while its generic, fluticasone, costs about $78. That's a difference of $36. Other prescriptions have no generic yet and are necessary for people to live. Lantus, an insulin used for people with diabetes, costs $124 for a single 10 milliliter vial. And an HIV medication like Norvir costs nearly $384 for a 1-month supply. Now, some of these medications can be covered by prescription insurance plans, but if a generic is available, some insurance companies will not pay for the brand name.
Generics and brands are equivalent, and they are allowed to use that information to say, this is what we're going to pay for, and if you don't want it, then you can pay out of pocket for the brand. That's how they save themselves money.
Now, it may be mind over matter, or you may just prefer brand medications to the generics. But in Pennsylvania, pharmacies like CVS reserve the right to dispense a generic equivalent unless you or your doctor specify otherwise. So be sure to speak to a local pharmacist before taking your medications. Reporting for Temple Update, I'm Shaun Gallagher.